daughter says, Daddy, a girl in my school says Fairy Club is only for little girls. And I said, that's not true, Matilda. Superman is into fairies now, too. Now, Superman will drain little Naz's gumball-sized nuts faster than a speeding bullet. Reclusive rocker shreds. Resist this woke Wolverine. Holla! Thank you very much. Ricky Rockman, original host of Headbangers Ball on MTV as a political pundit for Newsmax. These midterm elections are a vote for stopping those Antifa punks from breaking the law, breaking the law. Judas Priest lives. This is the Painkiller. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Holla! Thank you very much. Jeff Ross, roast master, shredder, general extraordinaire, roasting Jim Acosta at CNN. Does CNN just shove a mic in front of anyone with good hair who doesn't look too Tommy Lee, alt-rightish? Reclusive rocker shreds. Fake news, good guys with divine powered zealotry. Too extreme for your taste yet? Then go woke yourself. Ah! Thank you very much. Roger Daltrey, lead singer of The Who, for Millennial Mouseketeers and members of Generation Z, not keeping up with my killer shredder flow. Roger Daltrey, yelling at fans for puffing weed at a Who show at MSG. We're not Pink Floyd, mate. Weed kills your ambition. Remember? Don't get fooled again. At least that's what Pete Townsend said after he clicked on Soapy Bottoms at Nothing to See Here at MoveOn.org, conducting opposition research against Pizzagate conspiracy theorist. Alex Jones lives. Reclusive rocker shredding long time all the time. Holla! Thank you very much. Why is the song Dude Looks Like a Lady so offensive to the trans community? In the song, lead singer Steven Tyler from Aerosmith takes more than a peek, proclaiming with surging, mounting loss, oh, what a fucking lady, and I like it, like it, like it, yeah. So did Richard Pryor. Get over it already. At the time, Richard Pryor said it was the best piece of pussy Bill Maher never had. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. Awkward classic rock DJ moment. That was Love Hurts. Aw, Kleinfeld, in Dazed and Confused, only got to first base with a buck-tooth 6.2 by Texas Hottie standards. But I'm still Large Larry for a reason. That hurts. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Richard Linklater lives. Holla! Thank you very much. More all-star stuff. Wife says, Samuel loves Space Jam 2 because it's a father-son story. I say, LeBron's son triggers his dad by killing off Michael Jordan's legacy from becoming the 7-ringed man. I'm not interested. LeBron's son says, my name is Bronny Bon from Bel Air, who was born with a bonbon in his mouth with flakes of real-life Goldschlager made out of 24-karat gold. Your Zoom call with your 6 trophies in the background killed off my father's surging sense of self-esteem during the fall of 2021. Prepare to die of an aired-out heart in 15 years after I become the 7-ringed man. It's gotta be the bat shoes made in Wuhan! Wuhan! Wu-Tang lives! Holla! Old school rap forevermore. Thank you very much. Halloween made easy. The opposite of Halloween spirit is hanging up an ISIS flag to scare away trick-or-treaters. Ah! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. My son didn't want to wear a Halloween costume for school. He wanted to save his Grim Reaper costume for actual trick-or-treating. He didn't want to blow his load prematurely. He also didn't want to say, who are you following? And say, Death from Family Guy accidentally and have child services come knocking on my door soon after before I actually get a record holding deal for my box set before I'm famous, that including 45 records in total, representing every year of my life, and that being totality of me. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. You're welcome. Long time, all the time. Going, gone. Holla! Mr. October in Halloween month. Holla! Thank you very much. So my son didn't want to wear a costume for school. But I didn't want him to feel completely excluded. So what did I do? I burned every single one of his masks before he went to school. So if anyone asked what his costume was, hey Arthur, what's your costume? He could say, I'm the new face of the Burning Mask Party. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. I'm also bound to be the youngest mayor in New York City history for being the new face of the Burning Mask Party. And what's my campaign slogan? Hobbs, I don't eat pizza with a fork and knife like Putz Breath de Blasio for starters. And and school mask mandates are for power mad mongoloid moron politicians. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. Plus, Hobbs, de Blasio's wife used to be a full-time Park Slope lesbian in Brooklyn before they met. Yet 8 million New Yorkers known for their well-developed bullshit detection abilities are supposed to believe garlic breath converted her. But a mongoloid moron who eats pizza with a fork and knife would go down on her natty dread snatch without a mask on with such sloppy, reckless abandon is a plausible theory to digest. Holla! Thank you very much. Last year, I got my family dressed up like the one from American Dad. A dad in nearby Katona, New York, took one look at her family and says, I don't get it. I say, I'm Stan Smith from American Dad. Blatantly fictitious do-gooder operative for the deep state. You know, Swamp Thing Tone Loc lives. Holla! Thank you very much. We even made a sign for my parents in Scottsdale, Arizona that says, build the pool fence. Our first choice was dressing up in blackface like the Cleveland Show family. But Megyn Kelly stole our thunder already. Reclusive rocker shreds. Holla! Thank you very much. But Mr. Humorless Putz Breath Dad in Katona, you actually strike me as more of a unibrow Maddow fan, if I had to guess. So you'll appreciate this impersonation of Chris Matthews sexually harassing his new chesty intern from Yenta Country in Long Island for MSNBC. Here we go. Eating out Maddow counts as your lunch break. Babe, united, we laugh. I prove it every day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chicago lives. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. Favoring Mars attacks. Can I get a holla to break up my killer flow and to also give homage to my headline hooker prowess galore, favoring Mars attacks. Bring it on, alien creatures. Holla! Thank you very much. Daughter gets a tad freaked out after watching bunch of aliens blast Congress. Nothing more than skulls and bones in the movie Mars Attacks. Later, I calm down my daughter and say, Matilda, sci-fi means it takes place in the future. We can only be so lucky. Reclusive rocker shreds those useless pieces of shit in Congress that have done nothing to preserve the mantra, we the people, since the day democracy died. Holla! Thank you very much. But I do want Rand Paul to get out alive, though, so he can conduct an experiment on Dr. Noki, a.k.a. Fuckface Fauci, if you're not following my killer flow, by forcing him to dress in a Fred Perry polo at gunpoint by an alien AIDS blaster to see if he'd morph into a Proud Boy and tell Antifa once and for all to go pound sand for once in his weasel-laden, extremist, wicked life. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Holla! For the love of shredding. Thank you very much. All of a sudden, Dr. Noki morphs into a reprehensible, sexist pig after being forced to wear a Fred Perry polo shirt at gunpoint by an alien AIDS blaster immune to Magic Johnson's HIV inhibitor secret stash. Fuckface Fauci tells AOC on CNN to get knocked up and shut the fuck up about being a non-essential Betty Draper cranked up on Joe Biden's high-grade Adderall already. That gets Hunter in the zone whenever there's more blow painting between snorting more lines of Ritalin at the local Chateau Marmont under the new alias Brandon Lee Biden, since he got kicked out for baking crack cocaine in their bungalows, getting tweaked on more crank, only hearing last call from the bathroom stall. Can I get a holla for some high-octane blasting, shredding? Holla! It's raining hollas mofo tonight. Tim Burton lives. Holla! Thank you very much. Alexa, what is? Holla! Thank you very much. Alexa, why is Jordan Peterson considered an authority on personality when he doesn't have one to begin with? Alexa says Jordan Peterson is considered an excellent speaker because of his encyclopedic knowledge of mythology and literature. I reply, so I should buy into the myth that Jordan Peterson is a personable speaker for referencing other people's ideas without referencing their best quotes on Goodreads first? Holla! Thank you very much! Look, I read Jordan Peterson's 12 rules to life and liked it plenty, but I'm not going to go out on my way to praise the speaking prowess of a man who goes out of his way to show what an objective thinker he is by calling Hitler the antithesis of a fake news genius on the Joe Rogan show. And not just a fast-talking kraut hyped on crystal meth who teamed up with the Muslim Brotherhood in Palestine to exploit the Jews are the root of all evil motif for all it was worth, because that was the only white-collar profession allowed post-World War II involving the charging of interest, which is outlawed by the Quran, conveniently enough. Google it! Personally, I would have been screwed either way back in the day because I had to Google how many zeros are in a trillion after my daughter asked me once. Later, she says, Daddy, are you financially illiterate? Is this why you call yourself a degenerate Jew? Because you have to count with your fingers for simple arithmetic? Jackie Mason lives running on shtick, far from empty. And I feel fine. Holla! Thank you very much. The new Alec Baldwin excuse for fatal misdirection. I'm an all-over-the-place Jew since I quit self-medicating by getting loaded. Reclusive, rocker, shreds, going for the kill shot, long time, all the time. Holla! Thank you very much. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, I heard. But Trump is Hitler 2.0. Relax, Alec. Sequels never live up to the original. Although Biden, aka Mr. Groper, demanding jab stabs among all federal workers involving our military and all first responder emergency workers while exempting members of Congress from taking the jab stab like horseface AOC, like anyone would knock out that blabber mouth twat on purpose, has managed to sexually assault the shit out of Lady Liberty with greater frothy ferocity than R. Kelly ever did to his least bitches under house arrest in Sweet Home Chicago. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shredding false narratives one after another. Holla! Thank you very much. Oh yeah, Michelle Obama said, it's racist if you flee from the south side of Chicago. As if the south side of Chicago, the number one maker of bleeding controlling kits in America, is only one crep food truck away from gentrification. Gentrification, liberal talk for less mouthy Cardi B's and more juice bars to load up on more vitamin D, since finding any access to hydrochloroxine is harder than finding a film blogger on Rotten Tomatoes who called The Irishman underrated. Holla! Thank you very much. The most feeble reply imaginable is if you ask somebody if they think Joe Biden actually won the election fair and square. Their upper lip furls into a frenzied despair, doing its best to keep the stream of ultra hesitant ums and you knows from spilling out as their soul drops 5 stories closer to liar, liar, pants on fire, hell, holla, reclusive, rocker, shreds. Thank you very much. If Biden got more votes than even the great Obama be good, despite Biden's campaign rallies being so tiny, they couldn't even fill out the Little Mermaid's minuscule clamshell bras. Then Michelle Obama regretted pissing on the ceiling fan in the Lincoln bedroom moments before Trump got inaugurated. Later, Trump takes a tour of the Lincoln bedroom and gets peed on, for real this time, and comments to Melania, "Is this what Michelle meant when She-Hulk said, when they go low, we aim high? Can I get a holla for raining hollas up in this mofo today? Holla! Joan lives. Thank you very much." Joe Biden, on visiting the border, Mr. Groper says, "I drove through the border a decade ago because Hunter needed a designated driver for his 40th birthday bash. After Jill said blow, Hunter snorted the cake. I had Corn Pop rub my leg hair for good luck because you don't want to get caught by the Mexican police smuggling drugs across the border in a polo while sporting your white privilege on your sleeve, or else the Mexican cartel control police will jam your white privilege up your colo faster than Hunter can clean out the drinking bar on the Amtrak Excella on enough crank to make Charlie Sheen come off as the slacker, underachiever, punk in comparison, man. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shreds, any more than shitty coke with Ajax could do to Hunter's deviated septum. Booyah, tribe! Holla! Thank you very much. Speed, metal, punk, problem, holla! For the love of shredding. Thank you very much. Lemmy from Motorhead, the guitar player from the Stooges, Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols, and numerous other punk bands from the States in the 60s, only 30 years removed from World War II Max, thought performing Nazi uniforms or sporting swastika armbands was a good way to get a rise out of their parents. Wouldn't blowing Patti Smith's gay hustler hubby on a home video for Christmas with a goose jammed up his ass gotten the job done without affiliating themselves with Nazi pinups for Aryan Beat Nation? Corey Haim lives. Holla! Thank you very much. Oh yeah, that's right. Skinhead punks in England were working class, so sporting swastika armbands on stage is totally kosher in the albino bloke's eyes because the Jews control all the money and banks in the North Pole too. But I'm supposed to believe the Proud Boys are modern day neo-Nazis because, God forbid, they stand up to terrorizing arsonists in Antifa dressed up like wannabe Punisher vigilantes in hoodies from Target, as if every day is Halloween day. Sinatra 2.0 lives. Holla! Thank you very much. Woke bloke, please. Also, if the Proud Boys were avowed racist, then why would they act shy about it, concealing their extremist hate in subtle Fred Perry polos? I had no idea how Fred Perry polos was now all of a sudden the new unofficial school uniform for neo-Nazi charter schools in Nottingham. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shredding, more bullshit branded racist narratives. Long time, all the time. Holla! Thank you very much. Amy Winehouse, a Jewess jazz crooner extraordinaire, sported Fred Perry polos. But Amy Winehouse represented the enemy, according to AOC, and Minnesota rep Babyface Omar from Somalia. Gonna work it out because she was nothing more. That being Amy Winehouse, according to Babyface Omar. Gonna work it out according to Babyface Omar. Amy Winehouse, when it's all said and done, was nothing more than a beehive sporting, devil horn concealing, Christian blood, baby suckling, parasitical witch bitch who exploited the great Palestinian songbook for all it was worth. Can I get a holla for the Gershwin brothers, George and Ira, forevermore? Amy Winehouse too. Holla! Rest in peace, babe. Thank you very much. But Lemmy from Motorhead just collected Nazi paraphernalia because they had the killer uniforms. No shit, Lemmy. And I'm fretting about my neurotic-based jokes being considered too much on the nose. Holla! Richard Lewis lives. Thank you very much. Lemmy adds, the SS uniform is brilliant. They were rock stars of their time. What band would you compare them to today, Lemmy? Coldplay in Nazi regalia? Frank Zappa lives. Holla! Thank you very much. But you can't call Lemmy a Nazi for collecting Nazi caps. Like semi-bust Sean Kemp rookie cards. Nazi dish resale value on the 4chan of eBay. Martha Stewart is us. Proves who the real master race is in this instance. Reclusive, rocker, shreds. Holla! Thank you very much. Was Lemmy a Nazi? Because he collected their Nazi paraphernalia like an Ace of Spades blaring biker rocker version of Chris Cooper in American Beauty? No. But Lemmy wasn't playing Clive Davis's son's bar mitzvah to pay off his Jack and Coke tab at the Rainbow Room either. Holla! Thank you very much. Lemmy said, don't tell me I'm a Nazi because I have all the uniforms. In 1967, I had my first black girlfriend, and a lot more ever since then. But Lemmy wasn't famous in 1967. He was just a butt-ass, ugly bloke who hadn't made it big yet. So let's not act as if Lemmy could afford to be white supremacist picky before Motorhead broke big. Plus, being into the brown sugar, join the club, Lemmy didn't make Lemmy any less of a creepy fuck. We're spending more time shining Eichmann's throwback Doc Howe boots than he did scrubbing his face with fucking oxy pads for a change. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. And Nazi bootlicker collector fashionistas aren't being casted to play Nazi hunters that aren't actual Nazis on Amazon Prime. Last, the Hindu jacked swastika doesn't look cool. It looks like two stick figures doing a 69 on crystal meth. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. Reclusive rocker Nirvana. Holla! Cobain lives. Thank you very much. After I got my TV writing break with VH1 Classic on America's Hard 100, I gave my producer, boss, who hired me, a Bruce Springsteen mix to express my appreciation. Then I say, this doesn't mean I have a crush on your boss. I think too highly of my former TV producer, boss, Dreammaker to make him a Volume 2 mix, since Bruce decided to nod in submissive agreement with Obama Be Good during an interview with CBS while promoting the new book together, Experimenting with Biological Warfare on behalf of China. After the fake news Uniting One branded the E Street Band's white boy fan base as a bunch of easily triggered Michael Richard types, minus the sad cards, who would launch into N-bomb dropping tirades at the local pub off Broadway, screaming Nazis are us, after a couple of Jack and Cokes with no Clarence Clement clones in sight, as if another operatic, soul-tingly sax solo by the late great Clarence Clemens of the E Street Band on Jungle Land would easily trigger an Irish MTA subway token operator from the 80s. After a couple of black and tans in his system, after the 80s jukebox replays West Side Story meets The Outsiders in Washington Heights on Jungle Land, after blowing 200 bones to hear the song performed live prior at MSG. MTA subway token operator says, you know, bro, I don't normally use the N-word unless it's a term of affection because I grew up around more black guys in Bed-Stuy than Seal. But that N-word can blow the bug out of Spike Lee's ass. Can I get a holla? For reclusive, rocker, shreds, fake news, working class hero, that being Bruce Springsteen. Go work yourself, Bruce. Holla! Thank you very much! But seriously, what are these other so-called confessional, racist bomb, a cappella asides being dropped by Bruce Springsteen's closeted racist fan base after E Street shows past? Dock worker says to his girl on his way back home from an E Street Band show at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, Saints of Newark, my ass. The E Street Band can blow that soul glow sound out of their jungle fever loving assholes. I could have been the Grand Dragon, but instead I'm a gun-shy, closeted racist, and that's all I'll ever be. Marlon Brando lives. Holla! Thank you very much! Sanitation worker, back on the truck again, says to his bud, affirmative action gave me you, Leroy, and I'm happier for it. What did you think of the E Street Band show at the Garden last night? Leroy says, I felt whiter than white man's disease, Lorenzo, if you really need to know. Holla! And personally, I'm going to hate you for at least 2 months because I would have preferred to see Belle Biv DeVoe. Holla! Thank you very much! Aspiring American short story scribe janitor mutters to himself while mopping up some spilled sloppy second Joe Brain slop and says, Charles Bukowski didn't think Bob Dylan was anything to write home about either. Holla! Bukowski lives. Thank you very much! Short order cook just out of Rikers for drug possession of cocaine at a Dead show in Nassau Coliseum in the 80s says, I thought coke would make Bruce Springsteen sound like less generic white boy music. It didn't. Holla! Thank you very much! Plumber under the sink at work again says, that Clarence Clemens can play a nickelback defense if Leonard Marshall and the Giants ever goes down for the count. But he could still drop a fire hose load on top of my sister's back to mark the time he came there anytime. A sleep-deprived, hungover welder burns his hand on the job the following morning after a 4-hour Bruce show. The previous night, combined with the 2 hours it took for him to get out of the parking lot at Giant Stadium, and screams out loud, with flabbergasted disgust, fuck you, Clarence. I was born with 0.0 talent. I was born to do jack shit, but get fired on the job again. Jersey mechanic gets oil in his eye under the hood of a pink Cadillac and bemoans Clarence Clemens is pounding away on more champagne and crab legs after shows, yet this little grease monkey can't even change a spark plug right. You can't get out of New Jersey without a creative spark like Clarence either, Bruce. I'm stuck in the Swamp Thing state permanently. And it's not because of alluring tax breaks, my organic farm, growing pesticide-free Jersey tomatoes for Grandma's Sunday sauce. But you're not guilty of cultural appropriation, Bruce. You Obama be good, citing piece of shit no matter what. You sell out mook, deplorable scumbag. Holla! Thank you very much. I recall Bruce Springsteen addressing the E Street Band after someone was caught violating their no drug policy by stating, all of you are replaceable. The big man would take some time to replace. The big man would take a bit to replace. Michael Clark Duncan is a little bit green and not method enough to go that extra mile the way Denzel did in Mo Better Blues. Also, the E Street Band boasts the most Jewish-sounding drummer of all time, Max Weinberg, who looks like he'd be playing the bar mitzvah circuit if Bruce didn't shimmer up and exploit Bob Dylan's working man's blues, country rock pop motif with a one-man horn section in the form of Clarence Clemens for all it was worth. So, how racist could Bruce's alleged screaming Nazi fans be if they could stomach Bruce, who looked like a play-carrying, scuzzier version of Neil Diamond, otherwise known as the Jewish Elvis, on the Born to Run album tour, combined with the larger-than-life big man blowing him off the stage with one soul man and a half sax bellow blast after another. In addition to the four-eyed, altogether ultra-studious Jewy teen drummer Max Weinberg in his leftover bar mitzvah suit, pounding away in the drums at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park to earn some extra shekels to afford a Sandy Koufax rookie card because his weekly allowance wasn't cutting it. Did Tony the plumber and his buddy wait till the Stone Pony was practically empty and do one last bump of shitty Coke that tastes like Ajax, only hearing last call from the bathroom stall to get more stone cold sober for the ride home, only to be unmasked as Axl Rose's alter ego on GNR Lies in the Making? Tony the plumber blurts, "Police and M-bombs, get out of my way!" Plumber Bud says, "Get out of whose way? We got 2 lines left, bro. I'm here to do some coke, Tony, not blow my last minutes of freedom before I drive home to my fat slob wife to hear you rehearse your lines for Dumb Mook number 3 and Raging Bull." Bruce Springsteen fans are racist? Yeah. And the elitist ones on Broadway who don't think Kyrie Irving is smart enough to make his own healthcare decisions on behalf of his family and himself. Don't get it twisted, Obama be good. We all know you've done less for black empowerment than school boards trying to cockblock the creation of more charter schools, which make those blame game, hack, lazy brain teachers less inspired role models than Courtney Love failing to teach her 9-year-old to read while belting out lyrics, "I shat my bed on more heroin and I'll die in it," because I'm not clear-headed enough yet to practice forging Kurt Cobain's handwriting on his subsequent suicide note after he decides to dump my junky ass for good. Hey, don't kill the innocuous messenger insurrectionist. And you thought Alanis Morissette was a long-winded, jaded little bitch. Look at it this way. If Kurt Cobain killed himself at the height of his popularity after coming out as a professed proud dad who discussed quitting the music biz to focus on his painting, his guitar, and playing dad like a bleached-out junkie version of William Burroughs into his old age, then Woody Allen still stands a shot at winning Father of the Year while shooting the shit with Oprah about his new book about hands-up parenting called Crimes and Misdemeanors, the Early Years. I also thought Kurt Cobain detested cliched rock stereotypes, and what's more stereotypical rock god behavior than self-imposed fatal ruin from drugs or from a shotgun marriage to Courtney Love. Kurt Cobain actually predicted that an outsider, not controlled by outside moneyed interests, like Trump, could become president one day. Google it. If they haven't scrubbed that quote yet, which wouldn't be Pearl Jam sellout shocking by endorsing Mr. Groper in the campaign trail, just as Kurt Cobain had labeled Eddie Vedder eons ago. Because if Google doesn't manipulate search results, then why is it harder to find positive mentions of alternative treatments for COVID, such as hydrochloroxine, than it is to find a film blogger on Rotten Tomatoes who called The Irishman underrated? Can I get a holla for Callback Special Deluxe Supreme? You're welcome. Holla! Thank you very much! What would Kurt Cobain have to say about the Foo Fighters playing the first concert post-pandemic at MSG? It's now been officially rebranded as the world's most woke arena. What would Kurt Cobain have to say about the Foo Fighters playing that show post-pandemic that required a proof of vax to get in the door? Would Cobain say, anyone who attended that show is on the side of generic gunky goo throughout their everlong, edgeless lives? Reclusive, rocker, shredding again, and shredding good. Holla! George Thorogood lives. Thank you! It's raining hollows up in this motherfucker. Thank you very much! Hate. Speech. Therapist. Hater. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much! I hate being forced to spend any money on my hate speech therapist, despite not being money that I've generated from endless hollas. Holla! Thank you very much! Every time I spend $20 there, I expect rolling papers to calm myself down soon afterwards. It's not as if I got complimentary rolling papers when I used to take weed runs to the South Bronx in high school with my high school buds to score more sprayed nickel bags of weed that tasted like Windex. God, proving the limitations of my humor by pairing me with a hate speech therapist who probably admits about his 2 seconds in time when he dabbled in stand-up comedy in the past. Who exudes a 0.0 gravitas in person. And I can't even imagine how fucking boring he is on the page. Holla! Him and fucking Ann Coulter should be soulmates. Thank you very much! Hate speech therapist says, you've told me about warm words of encouragement from certain literary agents, but have you actually received any extensive feedback on what you could do to not suck so much in their all-knowing, morally superior eyes? Have you considered selling your fucking soul and compromising your hardcore beliefs for a couple of extra shekels like Chris Rock for a change? Holla! Thank you very much! Don't you think your problem is you actually not being a funny enough fagula after all? And that's why they're not interested in acknowledging your existence? More so, they're being turned up by your polarizing political stances that I blatantly disagree with. Although I'm not paid to admit that in front of you. Because they lose all their clients for representing a practicing kosher comedian who dares to defend Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas terrorists who launch thousands of rockets into Israel's backyard while expecting nothing more in return but an edible arrangement gift basket in return with the thank you note written in Farsi. Bloody hardened pineapple tops chucked into the Red Sea. Holla! Thank you very much! So I bring up just seeing Jerry Lewis's film, Patsy, on Amazon Prime for the first time, and being in perpetual awe of Jerry's all-encompassing hilarity inside and out. And understand, again, just to be clear, I'm talking about Jerry Lewis, not Jerry Seinfeld. I'm not talking about Yentebrecht Seinfeld. Although I did read in related news recently that Seinfeld is auctioning off one of his Porsches for charity. I just hope that half those proceeds went to Larry's kids. And also, for the record, I don't want Seinfeld smirking for at least 10 more years until you can give a legitimate explanation for why you were completely clueless about Cosby being a serial rapist for the past 4 decades in a row. Where were your powers of observation then, Jerry? Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shredding, the joke doctor, Yenta Brett from Long Island. worth more money than God. Holla! Thank you very much! So back to Jerry Lewis, film Patsy, and being in perpetual awe of his all-encompassing hilarity inside and out. And I add to my hate speech therapist, I say, Jim Carrey is a leering, desperate, highly grating weirdo hack in comparison, who's aged worse than the back of Joe Biden's decrepit, bald spot, and droopy shoulders of American dissing disgust. Hate speech therapist gets his panties in a bunch and says, but Jim Carrey's funny. I say, he wasn't funny enough to keep the girlfriend he gave herpes to keep hanging on. Vanilla Fudge lives. Holla! Thank you very much! But you love Jim Carrey so much that why haven't you bought any of his artwork after he decided to brand all Trump supporters, MAGA country, after he decided to brand all Trump supporters, Klansmen, since all those rejected extras from the Sears catalog in '86 showed up to Charlottesville in their faded polos and tiki torches in hand because Madonna made burning crosses so '80s passe already. To make matters worse, hate speech therapist brings up Mort Saul, who was a topical comedian from the 50s that just died, who was considered the more overtly Jewy Bill Maher of his day. I reply, I actually sampled some jokes on Mort Saul at a Starbucks off Laurel Canyon once for an open mic in Santa Monica later that night. I said, Mort, don't you think a two-state solution in Israel, between Israel and Palestine, is impossible if Hamas keeps fucking? And why would a non-practicing Jewish mom proudly admit to not having her kid circumcised? Whether it be from a doctor in the hospital or from a rabbi soon after, played by Crocodile Dundee, just so a room full of Jews can say, now that's a knife. You can chop it all off with that thing. Doesn't this mom know by forsaking the circumcision, she isn't doing her son's inchworm look any favors? Good luck arousing interest and getting head from a man or gal with decrepit foreskin flapping in the wind, which looks less appetizing than an anteater's schnoz poking around Chelsea Clinton's moldy snatch. But it's sexist to make fun of Chelsea Clinton, but she's not even ugly anymore. Plus, I think Sarah Silverman is a divisive twat on Twitter too more, while playing the role of social justice warrior to downplay her tits sagging popularity for the past 15 years and counting. Can I get a holla for some raining hollas? Holla! You're welcome, Mort. Thank you very much. Personally, I like how Mort Saul became obsessed with the Kennedy assassination to the point where it sucked the wind out of his career, which shows real character in my book. I can relate to the experience of being persecuted for being a shadow banned, canceled truther comedian by Twitter and by the Times of Israel, for firing me from a non-paid blogging job, for insisting China has resisted Wuhan lab investigations more than Aquafresh, or for pointing out how Governor Cuomo, the Italian reptilian inside, forced the Golden Girls to die alone after forcing elderly homes to accept COVID patients because he couldn't let all those extra order body bags and freeze truck photo ops go to waste. Well, looking his dapper best in his Armani Exchange suits. Yet some people couldn't fight the urge to gush over his handsome mug when, in reality, the Italian reptilian side looked like the Thing and Mama Fratelli from the Goonies had a baby. Holla! Thank you very much. Hey, I'm not the one who supports open border sex trafficking and gangbanger safe space sanctuary cities, which have transformed the Democratic brand into the rape enablement party today. Oh, gang! Dennis Leary lives. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds again. Thank you very much. But Mort Saul wrote jokes for JFK. Hey, It's good work if you can get it. Still, that doesn't remove the soul stain left on the Democratic Party for using biological warfare on America and beyond to push for mail-in voting, to steal an election, since the day democracy died, and their collective effort to starve out the working man into oblivion. Paying attention, Bruce? Because they don't want their kids amassed for Sharia law appreciation century, or care to have blood clot shots, give them premature strokes before John Durham is done squinting ever so quizzically, seriously at a TV news reporter from Newsmax. The same modern-day Elliot Ness, not who wouldn't know a RICO case if the PowerPoint presentation was stored on Hunter Biden's desktop. Some special counsel just having one FBI higher-up have his pension stripped for failing hit his school shooter quota for ones would be special. Coffee is for closers, not fake news, do-gooders, and FBI windbreakers. David Mamet lives. Reclusive, rocker, shreds, holla. Thank you very much. The worst part of my session with my hate speech hack therapist, holla, is his perplexed, bemused look where he tries to squeeze out more emotional intelligence that didn't fucking exist in the first place. When I talked about signing a contract, giving up the edibles, the Adderall, my precious IPAs, till Hanukkah. And I tell my daughter, I gave her my edibles to hide till Hanukkah. And he says, aren't you giving her too much awkward responsibility to shoulder? I say, Doc, I have my wife hide my Adderall to get my anger-fueled hate speech issues under control. And I don't want to take weed edibles and blank, God forbid, on what a hate speech monger I've become since I came out as a former Trump supporter before he let democracy die under his pussified watch without doing jack shit about it besides grumble on Rumble. So, as Hillary Hammer Time Kankles, a.k.a. Homo Liquor Breath, would say, what difference does it make? Mort Saul lives. If he was laugh out loud funny for any prolonged period of time ever. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shreds. Thank you very much. Rock and roll ain't shit without AC/DC. Holla! Bon Scott lives. Thank you very much. Rock and roll ain't shit without AC/DC. And unlike Chuck Berry, legendary howling frontman, legend Bon Scott, the best picker-upper follower up of all time, as I'm close, Brian Johnson, no offense, Sammy Hagar, never put a camera in a girl's room to spy a new pubescent trim to break in at the restaurant to get a big Kansas City T-bone special of their own. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shredding Chuck Berry's perverse peeping Tom side. Fucking deal with it. Holla! Thank you very much. I did try Sammy Hagar's tequila though. It tasted Van Halen light. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shreds. Thank you very much. AC/DC is also Rick Rubin's favorite band. And Rick Rubin is the less cagier, earthier, hip-hop, hipper, machine, pop culture, tectonic, shifter shaper equivalent of Phil Spector, minus the amazing made-for-HBO movie done by Dan Mamet about the Ronettes loving, teenager in love, soundtrack penning, producer legend, gold record shitting, Phil Spector, who for some reason decided to chuck it all for a C-minus bit never was actress, whose big break screen credit was playing Amazon on the Moon, Woman Extra, 5,000, but I digress. Holla! Reclusive, rocker, shreds, Phil Spector lives. Thank you very much. But Brian Johnson, the rip-roaring, shredding lead singer of AC/DC on Back in Black, can no longer perform live because all of his pitch-perfect, cannonball-powered, shriek-blasting for God knows how long has made him borderline deaf. Now, all he hears, God willing, is Hell's Bells, holla! Reclusive, rocker, shreds, for the love of shredding, holla! Thank you very much. The Metal Edge, holla! Reclusive, rocker, shreds, thank you very much. The mother who played a role in her son developing a near-crippling neck condition that required corrective surgery at 2 called torticollis, where the neck muscles contract, causing the head to twist to one side as a result from too much newborn plopping time alone in the crib. Summoned the gall to ask her son, who's about to turn 50 years old, in his new Victorian, well-earned mansion home outside of Saratoga, New York, lounging on a Money Mint Polo Lounge green Adirondack chair overlooking Lake George. Why would you push your son into fencing? The torticollis survivor son says, because the sport of fencing needs a metal edge, Ma. And your grandson, Headbanger's Ball, is just the kid to do it. Belushi lives. Holla! Thank you very much. Plus, Christian knights slayed Jews and Muslims for centuries because they didn't wear crosses around their neck. So it's time to rock those limey bastards on their ass. Like they just got hit by an American-made twister from Kansas City in the shape of a Charlie Parker with the Colossus wind power to match. Holla! Thank you very much. Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of Iron Maiden, is a championship fencer, yet his nerdy-hued Dungeons and Dragons stylings are no match for my son's budding headbanger baller edge. I want my son to be the most famous American fencer who ever lived, who graces the cover of Rolling Stone and Sports Illustrated all at the same time. I envision my son becoming the dreamy child offshoot of John Belushi, Charles Bukowski, and Slash wrapped into one. He'll shred every fencer record to pieces and tear more than a share of hymens in the process, assuming he identifies with highly addictive, heterosexuality-driven, puss-plowing play. Force equals mass times acceleration and become a world-class championship shredder. Will make my son an indomitable force in the business world when he opens his own hair metal shredder fencing line, which will be recession-proof because we're all going to be stuck wearing nappies on our faces in our post-COVID controlled universe gone wild till our last dying breath. Anyway, the torticollis survivor son adds, fencing will be more popular in the U.S. than basketball and baseball combined after headbanger bowler Cornbluth adds windmill celebration dances with his fencing sword, throwing all that old school fencing decorum bullshit out the window. Plus, he'll be loaded from commercial endorsements from the guitar store, Bose, Spandex, R-Us, you name it, so he can afford to pay any fine for inappropriate hot dogging behavior whenever the flamboyant, showboating mood strikes again. Holla! We won't get fooled again! Who lives? Holla! Thank you very much! Dana White will be inspired to go into the fencing business and make headbanger bowler Cornbluth the face behind his new billion-dollar Behemoth franchise, transforming octagon rings into enormous steel cage fencing match auditoriums instead. Instead of having Michael Buffer in a tux before fencing matches, boom, let's get ready to rumble. Dana White will find the new cherry pie girl. Announce, let the shredding begin. Holla! Reclusive rocker shreds. Thank you very much. While Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue blares on the state-of-the-art surround sound speaker system that gives the steel cage tremors of impending despair. I pushed my son into becoming a WWE wrestler for a living, yet there will never be another Andre the Giant, nor is my son a third-generation part of wrestling royalty like The Rock, or does he have a Canadian hockey player dad like Chris Jericho? So why not become a big fish in a far smaller pond while making the most humongous splash imaginable? Holla! Thank you very much! He also plays with his collection of lightsabers, Ma, now more than he does with his cherished wrestling figures, and he owns the original rubber dog size ones, including Hulk Hogan and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, among many others. In addition to the vintage WWF wrestling ring that I sold a spleen for to get him last Hanukkah. Kanye West is worth $6 billion, mostly from his fashion line of sneakers that sell for like $1,000 and up, Ma. Yet there's no limit in-demand fashion line for the flamboyant hair metal shredder in us all. I envision a flashing middle FU finger logo, Johnny Cash style, bitches, that's sporting the inscription of a kosher Shalab butcher knife on it that says, "Live to shred," to slap on its own line of silver spaceman sneakers, ripped jeans, and shorts, obviously in every color imaginable except Slayer, Rain in Blood Red. He'll have his own line of studded belts, necklaces, metal cowboy hats, and tank tops to show up his legions of groupies and adoring young male fans. Have his own line of core exercise workout videos involving jumping off box jumps through rings of fire as Moth into Flame by Metallica plays at full blast, being responsible for his shredded physique once he steps into something more comfortable for post-fencing fight interviews, which, as normal, will go viral. Thank you very much. I want to feed my son's love for speed. I want my son to maximize his inherent shredding edge like Buckethead, Randy Rhoads, and Steve Vai, for the love of God and shredding kick-ass metal guitar solos, and for his metal-loving American dad who pushed for him to shred for bread. Holla! Reclusive rocker, finishing strong. Thank you very much. On a less poetic, baser level, I want my son, Chosen Curls, was bound to be an all-American athlete who gets a fencing scholarship for being the most rollicking, flamboyant fencing frontman of all time, while making the sport less overtly nerdy in the process. I want him to be loved and feared like Sonny in the Bronx Tale, I want colleges to recruit him in junior high for fencing scholarships so he could become a headbanger, bowler in life instead of being a desperate, flailing hounder. That's why I'm pushing my son into fencing, Holla! For not pussyfooting over this last mile. Cinderella lives. Holla! Thank you very much. Mom says, your father thinks a team sport would be better, like football, for instance. The Torticola survivor's son says, we'll be sticking with football tosses in the yard, Ma. I also don't like to take advice from fake news hippies like Dad. Mom, no offense. You lived in Arizona for 10 years and still haven't visited the Grand Canyon once. So no offense, Mom. But Dad, fake news hippie! Holla! Thank you very much! Also, Dad, pushing eventual Pee-wee football on my son is another example of like Dad trying to make me bow down to his authoritative opinion, which makes me think he's the one with brain trauma from feeding his head with too much acid at Woodstock. Because if I bow down to his belabored, weak-ass pitch command requests, I would have shied away from doing political material during my speech at my younger brother's wedding when I said to this old pal from boarding school, "Can't from Canada, make yourself at home and hit somebody." So Jim Carrey can paint you as an alt-right goon on the loose in Charlottesville with a tiki torch in hand, looking like an angry, rejected extra from a Sears catalog in '89. Holla! Callback special deluxe number 2. You're welcome. Long time, all the time. Thank you very much. And that material killed at the Montreal Comedy Festival in 2022, which got me the agent who got me my movie deal for Back to Hebrew School, which bought this Victorian mansion, wave runners for all 3 of my kids, and my speedboat, Slashing Thunder. Holla! Thank you very much. Mom says, why do you hate me so much? Son says, Mom, I just hated how you always tried to shred my ego to pieces and cut me down to size and my divine power pursuit to become a world-famous comedian, Arthur / light spreader shredder who lives to bang out more sheets of electric-fueled comedy gold. I hate your arrogance for thinking you get to tell me how to raise my kids because they're my kids, not yours, especially after your lack of physical play with me as an infant resulted in my torticollis correcting surgery for being left to smooch my face into a crib out of place for surly, unhealthy, prolonged periods of time. I hated the way you always tried to make me feel like I was the crazy, mongoloid moron for trusting my instincts and for pursuing work I was good at, with the potential to be great, which made me feel most kick-ass happy alive. Mom says, I still think fencing is a dumb idea. I bet they only offer 2 fencing scholarships a year, max. Headbanger, baller. 1. The Olympic gold in fencing, 3 times in a row. Shredding every fencing record in the past. Dana White expanded his business empire to include MMA with fencing swords now and steel cage octagons with no protective gear required, although Headbanger Ball preferred to show off his shredding edge in the ring, sporting various items from his billion-dollar fashion line of ripped jean shorts, tank tops, and speed metal belt with his signature middle finger logo, sporting a ring with a kosher Shalef butcher knife inscription on it that says, "Live to shred." Can I get a holla? 4. The Reclusive rocker, shredding, going for the kill shot, final shot. Holla! Thank you very much! Shredding rocks, especially when you shred perceptions of what you're capable of achieving in this world, whether it's through individual accomplishment or through coaching your speed-addicted seed or not. Shredders soar. Shredders fly high with the angels, like the 3-guitar attack from Lynyrd Skynyrd on Freebird. Shredders make us feel most alive for doing the rocking out for us. Shredders inspire us to unleash our own heroic solo edge. Shredders make us feel most alive because they put us in touch with our metal-edged headbanger baller inside. Reclusive rocker shreds. Holla! Thank you very much!